It's your man Andrew Wood back here talking about Mutants and Masterminds, issue number 2. And basically what we have here is the Book of Revelations unfolding with a vast number of other mythological elements put in place. The characters have returned from New York to Los Angeles, have seen the carnage and destruction of the city, of columns of flame cast down upon skyscrapers, of glass everywhere, of twisted steel, of cars flipped over, of long lines of cars abandoned, of hundreds upon hundreds of dead bodies, of flies everywhere, of skeletons. They find out the alien ship leaves. Actually, as they're coming in, it passes them. It's massively larger than they are, and the air ripples as if it were water as they're coming in. And they bring the Avenger Initiative bodies to the to Lex Luthor, and Frank is wearing the Captain America outfit. Lex Luthor issues them presidential pardons with official seals and promotes Frank's character to the official rank in the army of Captain. They acquire a dossier on a one Dr. Dr. Samantha Ellie Randolph, and she is a lead geologist for a team of individuals who had gone in the LexCorp project to dig through the permafrost of Greenland and discover this large amount of amber that was there, which with a synthetic chemical that LexCorp had developed was said to become the next utter perfect green solution for cars. It was going to power something called the Luthor, which they purported to have ready by 2014, which is going to be in both the yellow and green colors that are the traditional Lex Luthor colors. Now, President Luthor says to them, I need you to find this girl. And he says to Joel's character, I know you're looking for a girl too. You help me find mine. Perhaps I can help you find yours. And he's looking for the pyrokinetic, his girlfriend, who I talked about in one of the previous videos, Rachel Starr. He has not been able to find her since they were arrested. Now, Joe's character is going through this whole thing about self-redemption. And he's seeing Frank's character as Captain America, and Joe bears a scar from Captain America, where Captain America apprehended him. The Steve Rogers, the real Captain America, and busted him in the mouth with his shield. And he still has a scar, and he's looking at Frank's character. He's showing utmost respect to Frank and putting him over. Frank becomes a party leader, and he's making sure that everyone pays that due homage and respect to Captain America. And when they get in there, they have a problem with the logistics officer. They're sent to acquire more information as to where they need to go in Los Angeles to find this individual. And they found that the doctor had arrived 4 hours before the aliens did in Los Angeles, before the attack, and that their current logistics had her spotted at certain coordinates in Los Angeles, still there. Now, the characters go to the logistics officer, who is portrayed by Moon Knight. Moon Knight gets quite hostile with him as Abraham, the ape with man-like intelligence, played by Ken Centers, begins to access his computers. He don't give no mind about Moon Knight. He just gets in that computer as is his custom. And Moon Knight takes offense to this, and some words are exchanged. He starts getting disrespectful because Frank steps in. He starts getting disrespectful to Captain America. Joe isn't going to have that, and it's telekinesis right to the mouth. I roll the dice in front of my players. Moon Knight's a little bit more powerful than his PL7s. He had him at PL9. Moon Knight is not baller, and he is down, and they take him out one hit, and they hit on in a chopper that Ken acquires from LexCorp using the computers and such. They hit up with a pilot chopper. The chopper is shot by an RPG. It dovetails down. Frank's character, Captain America, goes flying through he rolled a 1 on his save here. He goes through the window. The copter hits him, pins him against the building, and crushes him. Now, Roman's character gets out, this ex-military out of mind control, and he begins to look around, and he finds this. He says, I'm going to look for a trail of smoke. He finds a trail of smoke. There's like 25 minions here. There are all these Bloods and Crip members, and they have this little bit of white on. He has streetwise. He starts picking some things together. He turns around, he sees the Black Arrow, who was in jail with them. Basically, think of Bubba, that big black dude that is about to wrap you in prison. Think about that guy as a supervillain, and that guy in a supervillain prison while he sees him. Think of Ving Rhames, 6'8", 498 pounds of solid muscle, CGI style muscle. He's so huge. Now, you have that guy, and he's dressed fresh to death in a suit. It's white. Everything is immaculate white, and he's got a little cane here, and he's standing on it like this, and he's smiling, and he begins to make these comments and exchanges, and he grabs a hold of Roman's character, sort of a chokeslam spine buster combination, puts him right into the sidewalk. And I describe everything like in comic book panels when the action gets intense, and just crushes him down. Roman, it was a DC 30, and Roman rolls a 1 on it, and he missed by like a lot. You miss by 14 or more, you can get taken out in 1 hit. So he's unconscious, crushed out on the floor, and he looks at Frank's character, and they're both these big black guys who had this, both very evil beforehand, and Frank did some real bad things, but now he has become lawful good by way of becoming Captain America. And he looks at him, and he sees the disgust in his eye, and he described himself. He goes, "Yeah, I'm out here, and I am running these streets because I'm the motherfucking kingpin." And so we introduced him as that character. That's how things are reconstructed him. And Frank throws the Star Spangled Shield at him. I explain it. And his eyes get wide, Kingpin's eyes, and you can see in the white and his eyes the reflection of the star of the shield looking back. And I go through this really detailed description. And Frank rolled it, and I roll right in front of my players all the time. I give Kingpin a +10 to his toughness save. I needed to roll a 4 or better to not be knocked out in 1 hit. I rolled a 3, hits him in the face with the shield. Couldn't have worked out better. Lifts him off his feet, destroys him. They bring in some more helicopters from LexCorp. Kingpin's arrested. Something happens to him at any rate. The players go on. Joe uses telekinesis and flies them up to the location. They find something called Club Apocalypse. Now, it has all this neon light that looks like it's been scavenged from all sorts of different places. You can see like other letters that aren't illuminated. They go in. As they go in, there's dead bodies everywhere, flies and maggots everywhere, skulls piled up, all sorts of things. And there's dead bodies all over the streets, but there's massive amounts piled up in front of this warehouse, and they can hear this pumping rave music as they go in, and they look for the geologist. Well, they see her, and if you want to know what she looks like, Google Katie Faye. Not necessarily work safe. You can see utterly beautiful black-haired model. She is dancing. And there's ambient light in here, and they think everyone's being mind controlled, but they're actually sort of the chains have been liberated from them, and this sort of heightened carnality exists in the people. And they see soccer moms mixed with skinheads, mixed with gangsters, mixed with bikers, mixed with lawyers and doctors and army men. Anyone that had a sin was there, and they had come to this calling, and the warehouse is just packed with people. Now, Ken's character can control machines. He turns the music off. Everyone stops and looks at him. Joe's character's kind of pushing people back with his telekinesis, and he sort of parts it, like the Red Sea. So I really had the character sort of going with that. And they walk up to her, and she's like, "You need to turn the music back on." And I'm going to play with the hair, and she's being the character comes off as very capricious, very fickle, almost flighty, and only interested in having a good time. And kind of funny. She giggles, and they end up apprehending her, and Ken uses like a smoke bomb on her, and she at least seems to go unconscious. They take her out. When they get outside is a receipt. Frank's character roll and notice. He misses. There's a big throng of people that come out, and Norman Osborn is there. Frank turns and sees him, and Osborn in the jail he had been really messing with, just some really bad things. He beat him down, pissed on him, beat his ass like multiple times, really bad, practically killed him. And Osborn takes the Goblinoid Green, and they thought it was going to be like goofy power suit Green Goblin. No. This was a altered human version, and he takes the Goblinoid Green, and it just slides into the vein from the syringe, and he grows. And I describe how he grows, like 12 foot tall. It's the horns and the claws, just horrifying looking. I have a picture, not the Ultimate style, but I had an actual picture. It's a really cool picture. I should show them. Of the way Goblin looked, and he just grabbed a hold of Frank's character, picks him up, gut wrenches him, power bombs him right on his head, knocks him out. Frank rolled I think a 1 or a 2 with his toughness save versus a DC of I believe 30, 31, something like that. Knocked out completely. 1 hit. The Goblin jumps on him and starts trying to ride him like a Goblin glider, and he's talking. I'm doing this sing-songy, rhymey sort of Goblin style talking. And he's clearly going to kill Frank on his next action. He's going to kill him. Roman is able to get him off. Then Joe picks up 2 cards with telekinesis, cracks them over Goblin, natural 20. So I said, okay, the cards are all crushed around him, and I rolled very poorly on my save, so Goblin's completely out of the toughness save. The cards are just wrapped around him, a mangled mess. Ken's character goes over there, tries to pull the cards apart, tries to search for the syringe because he's a gadget guy, and he ends up like just flipping out. He also has rage, which is his characters are really, really, very cool. And he's a primate. So he's doing the crazy monkey stuff, and eventually rips the two cars apart, tosses them off because at rage his strength is absurd. His max ranks of rage. He grabs a hold of Goblin, tosses him up in the air like that, and so I described the panel of Goblin flipping him in the air, the syringe coming down. The monkey grabs a hold of the syringe. Just a little bit of Goblinoid green in there, and he starts deconstructing it later. Enhanced strength, super strength, protection. And growth. Those are the things he's able to sort of taking out from. He says he begins to learn how to make a more stable form of Goblinoid green. But they bring her back. Oh, Roman tries to mind control her at one point, which is a horrible move because she's the devil. She's inhabited by the devil. In the cavern in Greenland that they went into, there's a door, and basically what the door is something that is opened to end days. It has all this Norse iconography on the door, the Midgard serpent, the symbols for Ragnarok, and a whole bunch of other stuff in there. Basically warning, do not open this. This is hell. And what hell was in this game is being outside of the sight of God, being away from love, being away from passion, being away from any positive stimuli or emotion, and being in a place of utter seclusion, loneliness, without any anything but boredom. And this character's come out and wants to just have fun, and is just giving up on anything else but having fun. And she is almost seemingly convinced that, well, humans and her are going to lose anyway, so let's at least have some fun before that happens. They get her back, they interrogate her, they start figuring that, well, he attacks her. I go through this really horrible description. He basically sees her mind, and what he ends up saying is, when he starts mind reading her, he basically connects himself to being in hell for a few moments. And I go through all these horrible things in his life, and I just give him this like 8-minute montage of things are breaking down for him, and then like she's taunting him the whole time in his mind. But it's basically, she isn't really doing it. It's just the horrible reaction of hell and how his mind ends up perceiving it. And there's this horrible light spilling from her eyes, and he's like rushes at her, tries to like bury his thumb knuckles deep in the eye sockets. And they get her back there. The goblins arrested. He's the whole time, oh, don't trust Luther, but more goblinish than that. Luther screwed me over, and how he's going to get Frank's character, Captain America. They go back in there. They interrogate her. They begin to learn these things. They make a deal with her inadvertently, and they start feeling, they have this, I describe this very weird feeling that comes over them. Roman's character has another nightmare. He comes back. He gets all his plastique. When he wakes up, he was jacked up. He couldn't interrogate her. So when he wakes up, he gets plastique. He goes to the club. He finds out where she is. He goes to the club, and he just blows himself up in the club. He tries to kill her. Well, fire, explosives. That's not going to hurt the devil. So I describe literally nothing happens. She doesn't even stop dancing. But he kills like a couple hundred people that are sardined in this club. I described to him like how he looks, his body blowing up into all these different pieces, his intestines coming out, blowing up, the fecal matter going out, his bladder flying out and exploding, blood pouring from him and all these other people, and how like he looks down and his torso is going into 100 parts, and how his face is spinning around when his eyes busts out. And like the end of the game is Abraham goes back there, and he like finds his face, and he puts the Goblinoid green in, and he sees the face kind of like come up a little bit. But that's the end. But his character was extremely dead, but he was fine with it. He chose to go that route and trying to eliminate her. But it appears that the angelic forces or aliens or gods or whatever these things are, and it's a little ambiguous, are against mankind, and it seems this might be humanity's only hope. However, they've also found that the body, and these things seem to be almost like viruses, and she vaguely explains that, but her body is being detained, and that's why all the other crafts are over in Greenland. They've acquired that body and are apparently going to use it for what she's told them as an instrument of destruction to implement doomsday, because she is the most powerful of them. And she says, well, maybe it could happen, if you could get the body back. And the thing that kind of gets her back on their side is Joe's character makes this really great comment, and she goes, what I always liked about your people is you have such a great capacity for beauty, and that's why I wanted to show you all those things to unlock it. That's what I always fought with God about, because you can be beautiful in a way that we never could. And that, well, was the game. So let me know what you think, and if you have any questions,